Good evening, all. Good evening, Tom. How are you?
Evening. I'm good. You?
Yeah, really good, really good. We've got 2 empty spaces you can see at the moment. So Steve's on his way home from work, so he will be joining hopefully next 5 to 10 minutes. And Jay's taking an early trip out to trick or treat. So I know he's somewhere for Halloween already. So he was made up and very excited, Tom, weren't he? When we kind of saw him earlier on on the WhatsApp group. So he's not with us this evening. I think he's all dolled up and I can't remember where he's gone, but he's gone somewhere, hasn't he, for trick and treating?
He's gone as a pumpkin. Nice bright and orange.
He'd be well suited to that, wouldn't he?
He will.
So as I say, Steve's going to join us shortly, which will be good. I just give it a couple of minutes and then we'll go through the roll call like we usually do. But before we do that, myself and Tom was talking about lights and stuff like that just before we come on here. So I know, Tom, you've got some new lights. It'd be good to just have a quick chat about those.
Yeah, so unfortunately the T5s didn't actually come to fruition in the end because of temperature. Because whenever I've run them before, in hindsight, I should have thought about this. But whenever I've run them before, it's been an open top system or in the fish house. Obviously, with this, with this pelmet, with this built-in canopy, it's containing the heat, which caused a lot of issues. So we got up to the point where we were literally at 28.5, touching 29 degrees, which is not where I want to be in October.
Absolutely.
So they had to come out. Some of the heat was coming from the ballasts on the UVs as well, to be fair. The Choptronics do get really hot, so they came off. Didn't make much of a difference, but yeah, we decided that it was time to look at an alternative, because the last thing I wanted to be doing is running a chiller in the UK 24/7. It's don't really make any sense. It's not cost effective either.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of research, and ahhing. I feel like I'm eating me out here going down the LED route, but yeah, we took a bit of a plunge after a bit of research and opted for the Philips Coral Care, the Coral Care Gen 2s. So there's 3 on the system today. They got fitted earlier today, and there's 2 more going on beginning middle of next week. Still leaving the Orphex on and the Reef Brights on as a bit of a supplement for blues towards the end of the day, end of the spectrum. So I like to see a little bit of a pop, but again, I like my T5s, and from doing quite a bit of research, the Philips Gen 2 Coral Care was the closest thing on the market to a T5, so it was a bit of a no-brainer. Some of the feedback I've seen from, I know Paul's got them at AAC, a couple of people who are big SPS nuts are big fans of them, big old FD units, but from what I've read about it, it's one of those products that does what it says on the tin. So yeah, I've signed up for it. So let's see what happens.
They're not a common light, so I thought I'd just put it on the screen because I've seen them when I was in Dijon in Holland, which is a big wholesaler in Holland. And as you say, AAC have got them, and they're a really good light. They're not that common. I think because they're quite big and bulky, as you can see on there. They're a lot bigger than, say, a Radiant. They're really heavy units as well, aren't they? So you pretty much need to hang them. Yeah. How have you hung them, from the ceiling, or have you got a tank across the length of the tank?
No, we've hung them from the ceiling because the aluminium frame that I've got above me, I don't think you're going to be able to see, but the aluminium frame that I've got above me.
I mean, I'll just take this off screen so we can. You can see.
Oh, I didn't want to put too much pressure, so there's one just there. You can see slightly. I didn't want to put too much pressure on the aluminium frame because it's heavy enough as it is, just being an aluminium frame. So, like you say, they are very heavy. So yeah, they're suspended from the ceiling on the mounting kit that comes with them. But yeah, we've got the aluminium frame with the Orphex and the Reef Brights running on it. Like I said, they come on mainly midday throughout up until sort of the end of the cycle. But no, so far so good. I said this to you on the group chat last night. They are probably one of the I'm with Touchwood here when I say this, one of the easiest things I've ever bought to use. You know, I'm not going to slag any other brands off because I've had great success with other brands, but I've had also a lot of headaches with other brands, and this Touchwood so far has been very painless, which has been a relief. A lot of things in the hobby that I'm sure a lot of people would agree with me that, you know, look great when you buy it, but when it comes to setting it up or calibrating it, can be a bit of a headache. So yeah. It's been a good experience so far.
Yeah, I don't know. So Rich is asking, are these lights on the Aqua Forest display tank that Fredbox filmed? I don't know, Rich.
Yes, they are.
Seen
There's If I watched the video the other day, I don't know, one of the tanks in that studio that he's referring to, yes, they are. I think there's the one on the left. I think there were 2 or 3 of them. Yeah.
And also, my understanding on those, if any of the components go, they've got general Phillips electrical components in there, so they can be replaced. Not that I'm saying that they break easy and stuff like that. I've also heard they're really robust, and they're kind of more industrial looking, I would say, than hobbyist looking.
Yeah, they are. They look like a floodlight you'd have at a football pitch. To be honest with you, they are quite industrial looking. But again, for me, with the pelmet and it all being built in, for me, literally aesthetics wasn't really an issue, because you're not going to really see. It was more about performance and mimicking the T5 spread that I wanted to ideally keep, but I couldn't because of the heat. And 170 watts a piece, it's less than a radian. So for me, it was a no-brainer from the electricity bill. Yeah,
we looked up yesterday, and what's the radian? 210, 215. Now, no, they might be 100% and everything else. And I love radians. I know if Steve won in here, he'd have the radian flag up.
Yeah, they're a good line.
I've got them on my tanks. If you look at the spread on those, because they're about 18 inches front to back, and we was trying to debate about 24 inches long.
22.
Yeah. So you get them. They're full of LEDs as opposed to pucks, aren't they? So the individual LEDs spread across all of it, I think. So you get you get a brilliant spread, don't you, on them, which is good to see. So you've got 3 at the moment, and so how many are you going to have?
5.
5. So that's a lot of lighting, but then you got a lot of tank, haven't you?
Yeah, a lot of tank. But then again, I mean, there's going to be 5 of those that are going to be covering the same spread as the 2 T5s running half the electric.
I can't argue with that, can you?
That's
without the cost of the bulbs, because you replace bulbs every 12 months?
I still keep the T5s. Yeah, exactly. T5? Yeah, probably every 6 months, to be fair. Do it in stages, but I'll still keep the T5s. I'll use them on something in the future, but because these days you can't sell them to give them away. But yeah, it was a no-brainer. I mean, a lot of the stuff I read about the coral care, was that sort of took me back, was how much Phillips have invested and done a lot of research. I said this to you last night on lighting, that you don't realise, and a lot of the big names today that sell lights in the aquarium trade have had to buy, because it's patented by Phillips, have had to buy access to that to be able to, reconfigure or copy, in a sense, a lot of the similar technology that's in different lights as well. So, it's a well-known brand, isn't it? It's like having a Samsung TV or whatever at home. It's a well-known brand, and I just think for me, when you're spending the kind of money out, in a new lighting system, it gives you a bit of peace of mind that you could pick up the phone to a customer support, number, ideally in the UK, and get an answer on something.
Absolutely. So that's the light. So how are the fish doing? You had all the chromis in there. I can see loads and loads of fish swimming around. Jay will be disappointed because they're not shoaling from side to side.
No, not to that. No, they're doing well. To be fair, the chromis have they're all together when it's feeding time or when they think it's feeding time. Yeah. Other than that, there seems to be sort of 3 different groups. I mean, you saw the video I sent or posted sort of the first week they all went in, and they were laying eggs pretty much straight away. Whether that's from a territory point of view. Evening.
Yeah. Hi, Steve.
Yeah, all things.
Yeah,
all right, you.
Like he's sprinting back for work. Quick, literally a shower in, out, and then just top on. Yeah, ready, mate. Ready for the stream.
Good man. We're just talking about Tom's tank, and then I haven't done the roll call yet. I was waiting for you to join, and then we'll kick off with some other stuff. So we're just talking about the fish. So you're talking about the chromis and in 3 groups.
Yeah, they're sort of grouped in. They're sort of like split into 3 different groups. I think there's a couple of pairs in there that have been dominant in the previous tanks, and I think they've sort of almost resurrected that dominancy in a sense in this new build. They all went in. They were all getting to know each other, and I think now that they've done that, they're all sort of deciding who's in charge. So but fortunately, again, because of the size of the tank and the Aquascape, there's enough. And I said this to you on one of the other streams when we're putting that other bit of rock in. There is enough room now for everybody to on a night, especially chromis, because they like to hide away in little nooks and crannies. Before I've obviously got corals and such. But no, they're doing well. They're doing well. Coris Lass is coming out now. She stays out most of the day, which is good. The orange shoulder is starting. And I've never, do you know what? I never knew this about an orange shoulder. Have you seen an adolescent orange shoulder? Because it's not very orange. Well, they turn grey, which I thought was nuts. But yeah, if you Google it, it's starting to turn. And I don't know whether that's because it's been in the garage for years and I've not really had that, close, sort of visual inspection of it. But now that I can see him in here, I can see that he's starting to turn grey, which, looking forward to seeing the transition, to be fair. But no, everything's good. Everything's good.
There's quite a few fish, isn't there? Like emperor angels and others that actually transition different colours and different shapes, not different shapes, but different shades and stuff like that. And also when they're stressed. So I had a vampire tang, and whenever it was stressed, it would go black.
Yeah.
It was really bizarre. And it was lovely. In a way, it was lovely to see, but obviously it meant it was stressed out from time to time.
Stressed out, yeah.
But how it would just protect itself by going black, and then you'd see it going into the rocks and it almost turned invisible where it went into the shade and stuff like that. So how they protect themselves is just amazing, really.
Yeah. I think there's a bit of luck as well, if I'm honest with you. There's been a little bit of luck with this one. I think you have to have a little bit of luck in this hobby sometimes, because quite often everything goes against you when you're least expecting it. But yeah, there was, as you know, there's been a lot of thought, a lot of pre-planning in moving these fish in the stages we brought them in, and even down to, I think sometimes even down to the fact, I said this on the other stream, that the orange shoulder is significantly bigger than the others. There's not really an argument between the tangs in terms of dominancy. And the purple and the yellow, well, the purple especially, that I was worried about being a bit of a twat, should I say, and the convicts, they've all mellowed. There's enough, I think that's because I've got the number just right. I won't add any more. I think the balance is just right in terms of the volume of water, and again the rock. Again it boils down to there's not too many shoulders to rub and bump into each other, so there's enough space for each other, and that's again why I went slightly higher and went with a 700 height with the tank. So again, I could just get a little bit of extra volume, and it has paid off. I think it has paid off.
I think a lot of people are going shallower tanks, but I mean it's quite extreme. But when I've seen some really deep tanks, the way that tangs and other fish behave is very different, because they haven't just got the kind of the length, they've got the height, and so the characteristics are slightly different. And certainly those places where they breed tangs and stuff like that, like Dijon in Holland, they'll have quite deep tanks that might be 5-6 foot deep because of just their behaviours and allowing them to mate and stuff like that. So that kind of environment has a big part to play, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Yeah. I'm going to do the hello to people, and then we'll come to you, Steve, to see how life is. So Skids was first in the house. So hiya, Skids. Good evening to you. Johnny boy, I see you having problems with was it a Fallfish? We'll come on to that in a moment. Cotty's Reef has been and gone. He's can't join this evening, but he'll catch up later, so that'd be great. Hi Stuart. Techers is with us. That's good to say hi, Techers. And Gus is around, and Gus was able to find the streams. I know sometimes he goes between the channels and he can't always find them. Mickey Boy is in the house. It'd be great to get his feedback on the perfect tank later on. I'm sure he'll have a lot to say on that, but that'd be great. UKM 120, good evening to you. Only Fins is back in the house. Always welcome. Reef 21 this evening. Good evening. Rennie's Reef, hiya. Rigsy 69, good evening to you. DC Reefing, hello there. I was about to say it's a long time since I've seen you and seen your logo, so welcome back. Always welcome. Lee's Reef, good evening to you. Hiya, Howard. Doing very well. Hope you're good. Economical Reefer, watching from London City Airport taxi rank. It's usually Cole who's in the taxi. Hiya, Marek. Good evening to you. Right, who we got? Helen Barr. Hiya. Sorry, Hayley, not Helen. Hayley, how you doing? Chrissy boy. So he's got a possum wrasse today and trying my luck with an Aptasia eating Fallfish. Every time I killed some apps, like Medusa 7 will pop up. Absolutely. And then there's Johnny Boy saying about Fallfish.
Yeah.
Don't touch mine. Now, my experience on Fallfish, I've only had about a couple of them over the years, is I find they don't seem to do much for 2 or 3 months. That's the experience I've had. Now, I don't know if they just lose interest or they'll get their appetite. Or I read somewhere, and I don't know if this is fact or fiction or myth, is they go after the smallest spores first, and therefore they'll clear that up before they go into the larger ones. Now, that could be complete BS, but that could be an excuse why they don't go for them. But I must admit, it did take him a while to start eating the Aptasia in one of the tanks I had. But in the end, they did clear them. But it took a while.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The last Fallfish I had wiped out all my air cans, so I didn't have another one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they've been known to go after the soft flesh of an LPS, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I've never had a Fallfish, to be fair. When I did have that little bit of a problem with the Aptasia, I just shoved a couple of peppermint shrimps, and really, peppermint shrimps are just going to get in there, going to go to town, and all of them eradicated it. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And they never even touched the corals. Didn't touch the corals. Your corals are safe, really. You know what I mean? To be fair, you think that they're eating, like your taught corals, but they're not. They're eating the food that's in between her. They're trying to rob it, aren't they? You know what I mean? So that they're pretty safe. So I've always had good luck with them, to be fair. And thankfully, I've not seen an Aptasia in this tank for years now. You know what I mean? Touchwood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Having said that, they are in the way. They're in the way. That's the strange thing. I've got a huge one in the way, which must be, it's like the size of a taught coral. At the bottom of the way, they can see it with a shining light in. But because nothing touches it, it's like dead pale because there's no light to it. Yeah, and it's dead pale. But not because it's not being irritated. It's probably getting fed because of some of the food that goes down the overflow. Yeah, and then in the meantime, it's like, I'm happy. I'm just gonna grow. I'm sitting here, and it's not released any spores or anything because it's not being mithered. You know what I mean? I think it is when you mither them and you start because I used to use that, Aptasia X from Red.
I used to use it as well.
And I kid you not, the moment it knew that needle was coming towards it to fire it, it was as if it scored itself. Like, yeah, all right, mate, no worries.
Yeah.
And you'd wake up a couple of days later and there'd be about another 30 or 40 of them around. So it's good stuff if you can
I've used that Joe's Juice before as well, I think. Is it Joe's Juice?
Yeah.
I've tried the Joe's Juice and I've tried Aptasia X. And I've had mixed success. It's killed some, but like you say, unless you're spot on with it, the spores come out. So I must admit, every tank I've started, well, not every, but in recent years, I've put the bumblebee snails in, and I've put a peppermint shrimp just as a matter of course, just to keep away. The only problem is peppermint shrimps don't tend to mix very well with some wrasse. So wrasse have a nice feast. So you've got to watch it. If you've got loads of rot work, you're okay because the peps only usually come out after dark, and that's when the wrasse have gone into it. But if the peppermint shrimps get their timing wrong, then they're food, aren't they? That's the problem with that. Yeah. So I've got one tank that I can't put peppermint shrimp in because it's got a peacock wrasse, and the peacock wrasse will just go for the pep. Whereas the other two, I've got no wrasse, so I'm okay. So I think sometimes you just got to kind of make a decision. So I must admit, I'd rather have a peppermint shrimp than a wrasse in most tanks, although wrasse are lovely fish, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I'd persevere. But personally, I'd go for the Peps. I think the only thing with Peps, they don't tend to go for the large wraps. I've never seen them eat them really. And what I tend to do with that, I get some putty. So I get the D&D putty, spread it out, and I put that over the Aptasia. So as long as it's not a hole in that and it pops out somewhere else, it usually kills it. And then the small ones, just leave it to the Peps. But
agree.
Right, let's have a look. See, we've got Russell here, but late, packing car for a trip and doing weekly dosing in the tank. Hiya, Russell, if you're still knocking around. Push button Reef, good evening. I love that logo.
Yeah, I love it. Cowfish.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim Green 83. Hiya. Hey, we got the Viking in the house. Good evening to you.
Yes.
Hope you're well.
Evening.
Yes.
Hope the tank's doing well. Seen some of your pictures recently. Looking good.
Stunning.
I'm loving that logo. Don't really need words, do you?
No.
It's just brilliant.
Is it the birds you're looking at?
Absolutely. Happy birds and a happy reefer.
Yeah.
That's when you know your tank's rocking.
You put a logo up like that, you are, don't it? Yeah. I'm rocking.
Brilliant. Anyway, welcome, Daryl. I don't think I've seen you on here before, or Steve, because I would have seen that logo and commented before. So good evening to you. Brilliant. Danny, all right, lads, just got a mini reef 120, thinking about cutting my reef rock pieces in half and gluing them to the back. Is this a good idea or not? So if you're talking about a floating aquascape, then I've got a floating aquascape. If you look on the channel, there's loads of videos on how I did it, and you would need an acrylic shelf, or I wouldn't just glue it straight to the back. If you're looking at a floating aquascape, if you're looking about the odd piece or two about gluing it, then I would probably use a combination of putty and glue, and I would use something to hold it in place first of all. But yeah, if you're looking for a floating aquascape, mine's nearly 3 years old. Might be some ideas on there. Yeah, absolutely. Right, what else have we got? Opinionated reefer, hiya. Good evening to you.
Evening.
Yeah, Mr. Paul, how are you, sir?
Paul. Evening, Paul.
On the Fallfish, excellent. Right, what else have we got here? 6 Peps did nothing with mine.
Wow,
I've got to say, I've had a number of Peps
mate,
over the years, and they've always worked, even though some of them have taken ages because they get fat on the rest of the stuff in your tank. They've always done the trick in the end. The only thing I would say is that if you look at camel shrimps, they look very similar to peppermint.
Yeah, they look very similar. Yeah,
and camel shrimps have a habit of eating zoas as well. But you have a look at it; they're quite similar. And camel shrimps, I don't think eat apps, but they eat zoas. But that's I feel for you if you had 6 and they've done nothing, though, Chris. Right, let's have a look. What else have we got here? There we go. Mine ate all mine within the first month and found my fish food better, then ignored them. Just added corals now, so he's in the sump. Can I have a peppermint in the RAS? No, I think it's touch and go. If they know when to hide and when not to hide, then you're all right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's a good chance they might get eaten.
I'll tell you what, going on to that, my peppermint. I had my peppermint shrimps over 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago or something. Yeah. And I was what do you call it? Cleaning the glass the other day in the tank, and I got my hand in it because you get that little bit of green algae, the tough green right at the bottom. At the bottom, So I had to get my hand in and get scrape it. And I kid you not, right under the arch at the back, I went, "What the hell is that moving?" And I looked at the shine the light, what the hell? What is it? And it's one of the peppermints that's still alive. I had 3, and one of them is still going. I thought they were all brown bread, mate. And one of them is still alive. I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? So where the hell that thing's been hiding, I do not know, because I look at my tank all the time. You know what I mean? I'm sat in the chair and I'm always staring at it. And I'm like, where the hell has that come from? And it's literally, so it must be on the verge of 3 years old, 2.5 years old, that peppermint shrimp. Easily, you know what I mean? The other 2 brown bread a long time ago, but that one is still going. I couldn't believe it. So so maybe that's keeping maybe I have got aptages in my tank, but that's just keeping them at bay.
I don't know.
Maybe. If it does the trick, but you've got a lot of rock work, haven't you, and corals? So if they're doing their job and they're not out during the lights on, you're not going to see them, are you?
It's not out. Never comes out during the day. I would have seen it. It must come out in the evening.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the laser they brought out that people were using as well to melt?
Yeah. I think that was just one of the biggest cons ever made. To be honest, it was I've seen one good review, I think, on it.
Some off James
on the whole
Bond.
of YouTube, mate. Yeah, it was and it took and you think that it done it. You think once you've zapped it kills it, but no. When you read the instructions, it says that you've got to keep doing it and doing it and doing
really?
it.
Really? I've never had one, but I've seen them.
Mate, just watch YouTube videos on it. You'll see exactly what I mean. You'll laugh.
Oh, right, okay.
I was like, what a waste of money that would be. And I think they were selling for 200 quid or something stupid like that.
They were 200 quid a shot.
They were really
I'd be
expensive.
A bit worried about lasering through your glass.
I know that's what I
don't know, it
thought.
just doesn't feel right, doesn't it?
My son James Bond thing. I thought, no, what the hell is this for? Like, this
As
is
you're
this,
sitting
this
there,
crack your
you've got a
glass.
hole appearing in the glass, and you go, no.
Oh yeah, slowly but surely appearing.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Oh,
The next thing you know,
Yeah,
you've shot an
no.
helicopter down that was flying past.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm sorry, no chance.
yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's Easter and all, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? People try
Yeah,
things.
absolutely. It
No.
might. I mean, some people might have really good success, but it feels like a bit of an
Yeah.
ache.
Yeah.
But there we go. You do hear a lot about these, the Bergie and Nudie branch.
Yeah.
They work, but the problem is they're really difficult
Oh.
to get older because they're really hard, I suppose, to culture for a long period of times because you need a constant supply of Aptasia because that's all they eat.
They're expensive.
They are. What about
Extremely expensive, mate.
I haven't
Are they?
seen
I've
them
never
on
had
the
them.
market for
Never had them.
ages.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
They're extremely expensive. I
What
have
we
a couple.
talking?
Honest to God, I kid you not. I kid you not. Yeah, I had a couple of them. I think I bought 5 or something, and there was like 70 quid, something like that. 65 quid, 70
Wow.
quid, 5. But we're talking like millimeters. It wasn't big.
They're really
They're
small.
like huge,
Yeah.
and they're that small. You know, you got to get them out. You've got to get them out by one of those pipet type things. You know, one of those like
Yeah.
the pipet things that you don't. That's how small they are, and you suck them up like that slowly, and you place them on the rock where you want them to be, mate. I kid you not. I mean, they might work in like a smallish tank, I'd say, but I would never have it in a large tank because you'll never see them. And then if you have got a rash, the brown bread, if you've got a rash, you can't have them because the brass will eat them. So it's as simple as that, mate. You know what I mean?
It's interesting,
yeah,
Steve, because I've heard mixed things on that about will wrasse eat them or not, because I think they're quite prickly. So I've seen stories where people said that wrasse have eaten them, and others said that they won't go near wrasse because they're either poisonous or because they look quite spiky. So I'm not sure on that one whether they do or not. Yeah,
my mates had them, and he actually seen them. I can't remember which wrasse it is. I'll find out and I'll let you know next week. But he had it, and he said he's seen them. He was actually going for them, munching on them. So
really, okay,
and he actually seen them munching on the things, and he was like, "What a waste of!" I think he spent about 100 quid, 150 quid or something on them, and he was like, "What a waste of money! I just burnt my money." Because I said that though, his tank was riddled with Aptasia, so he was like coming to the wit's end of it, you know what I mean? And he was like, "Oh, what the hell?" So he was just adding everything, to the tank. But yeah, he definitely seen them. That one of his wrasse was eating them, you know what I mean?
Oh,
but they tend to hide, you see, and they come out in the evening. That's what they do. They don't come out during the day. They're nocturnal. Yes, they come out in the evening and then munch when all the other fish are supposed to be asleep. You know what I mean? But like you said, if they get caught out, I'm sure there'll be fish food for some of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the subject, there's quite a few posts about apps. So I'll carry on with that one, and then we'll move on when we're done. So I putty the apps over where I can. Yeah, absolutely. I've heard a few people. I've never done this before, but people use calc paste.
Calc paste.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Oh dear, the cowfish had a nibble on a frag today. And, once they get a taste for it, that's it. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And Daryl's bought his first reef tank, got the Red Sea Nano Peninsula. Inspired by me. Thank you. But Daryl, if you need anything, give us a shout. I'm on Instagram or any of the guys on here because Jay's got the Nano as well. So a lovely tank to have.
Asking for a signed photo, Paul.
That'd be a first and a last. Thank you for that. So bought 4 off of eBay. Yeah. And the app's all well in a week.
They do work for sure.
Yeah, I got 8 of them delivered tomorrow. Cost 79 quid delivered.
Good.
I get the Peps out first because they will eat them. So the Peps go for them as well, which defeats the object, isn't it? You put 2 lots in and one of them are gone. It's meal, isn't it? For sure.
Just a bit, yeah.
And then a question: Foxface eat them? I don't. I've never read Foxface, so I don't know if Foxface eats apps. Do you guys know?
I don't know about them. No, I don't know about Foxface.
I don't know.
To be fair, I definitely know, like I said before, I definitely know 100% certain wrasse eat them. You know what I mean? 1,000,000% on that. But Foxface.
Foxface is.
But then again, though.
Go on.
No, but then again, any sort of meaty, it's a meaty food, isn't it? You know what I mean? Any sort of bug, anything that that's moving about. I'm sure, like any carnivore in there is going to try and have a little bit of a nibble. Do you know what I mean? To be fair, you know what I mean. So, I mean, like a foxface, they tend to like supposedly like the algae and stuff, which they do. My foxface does the same, yeah. But when I shove my food in with squid and mussels and prawns and everything, mate, he's the first on the dinner plate. That kid,
why not,
you know
though,
what I mean?
Steve? I'd be on it. Yeah.
He's to the first on the dinner table,
Yeah.
that lad. He's like, what the hell? Get out of the
Exactly.
way, I'm standing. And he's right at the glass. He's right at the front of the glass waiting, you know what I mean? It's mad, mate. So, yeah, it's, I think if they get an opportunity to eat something like that, I think they would do. Any fish would, you know what I mean, to be fair.
Yeah. Okay, so John's decided not to upgrade my 3 foot and waiting for a new water box 25 Peninsula and picking up a used AI 16 HD. Oh, nice.
Nice.
Wasn't John talking about a second-hand Red Sea the other week? Is that right? Was that my memory?
Yeah, he was.
Soft.
Yeah. And then John saying my Foxface don't. Putty and Coral Glue by apps. Yeah. Mickey Boy saying they don't. I never heard of meeting Aptasia. I've been recommended Modern Reef 4-part for dosing. Anybody here any experience with it? I've heard good things about Modern Reef. I think it's fairly new, but I've never used it.
Me neither.
I thought it was for more of like the advanced hobbyist. I've heard like it's dead technical, but it is good. Is it German in it? Is it just German in it? That one? I'm sure it's a German brand, German mate.
Don't know.
I'm sure of it's a modern.
I think it is because I thought I saw a post by Euro Corals the other day because I think Modern Reef you can send off your SCP to a UK address and then they'll batch them up and send them to Germany for them to do the ICPs. I think that's the company I saw the other day. Where is a good online shop for getting shrimp and cleanup crew? I'll be hopefully adding them to my tank in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, that one that Jay used to use.
Is it Coral? No, Celamarine.
Celamarine do really good clean-up crew, to be fair, and at reasonable prices. Sometimes they have deals on as well, where you can where they literally like £1 a snail, certain snails and all that. So go and check them out. Definitely, they do good deals, to be fair.
Also, H2O Aquatics. I think they
H2O,
do crew as well. Try Rachel if you phone or look on the website because I'm sure they post. A couple of times I've been in there and I'm sure she's posted out. I don't know about shrimp, but definitely snails.
Yeah, she sent snails out to me before.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she could try that. Just going through some more comments. My fox doesn't. So all snouted fish do long nose, raccoon, copper bands.
I was going to say copper band, to be fair.
Yeah, copper bands. Yeah. People get those quite often for Aptasia, don't they?
Yeah.
I think the thing is with a lot of it, though, is like you said earlier, Steve, with your feeding regime, if you put a fillet steak in front of them, they're going to go for the fillet steak as opposed to the broccoli, aren't they? Half the time.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure. Absolutely, mate.
There we go. Johnny Boy's made his own frozen food this week, and the fish love it.
Good.
Perfect.
Nice another mad chef.
Yeah, that's what you need to be, mate. You need to be in this.
Okay. Euro Corals make it. So Modern Reef is by Euro Corals.
Oh, Euro Corals.
I saw the post.
All right. Interesting.
I've got a question about calc. Just started dosing it, but my calc storage has got a skin on top of the water, like what you get when you leave gravy out. This normal. Steve, you're the calc man.
No, mine doesn't really tend to have that, to be fair. Mine's in the 25 litre bucket. Now, have you got a hole in your, I don't know if it, like whenever you're storing it and make, I put a little tiny pinhole, in the top to release the gases. So maybe, like what's in it. So just make sure that you've got like a little bit of a hole in the container, but usually a skim. No, I mean, I haven't had a skim in mine, to be honest. I mean, just give it a shake or, a mix up or something, and then see if it comes back. You know what I mean? But I don't know if that happens if you maybe put too much in. You know what I mean? But usually once you've mixed it, like once I've mixed mine, and because I mix mine literally in a 2 litre bucket, a 2 litre jug. I mix the powder in with that, and then I tip the 2 litre the 2 litres in the 25 litre container, yeah, and then I give it a shake. You know what I mean? Get it all going, and then I put it, and I let it set. Then the sediment, the rest of it, let it set to the bottom, and then put the doser on. You know what I mean? Well, I've never seen a skim on the top of it, mate. To be fair, no.
Has he got a lid on his container?
That's what I mean. If you need a lid, but you still need some sort of like like a little bit of a tiny little pinhole, just to let it escape, the gases and stuff. But obviously, you don't want too much of one because it just reduces the potency of the calc if oxygen gets to it.
Yeah, there's a few comments here actually. It's about skim is normal.
I haven't seen it.
And then there's another one, actually protects the calc from losing potency to CO2 in ambient air. It's because it's exposed to the air, it can form a crust.
Right, fair play.
So maybe yours haven't.
Maybe
you're not getting enough air.
Got the lid on it. Yeah, got a tiny little,
so you're keeping the potency to it, aren't you, Steve? So you're not actually not evaporating or whatever it does.
Yeah, because that Chris Meckley, that Chris Meckley who does those, he's got great big vatfuls of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and he's not got anything special. He's got no special. But if you see him, what he does is he puts he's got a big vat, like a big black buckets. He's dosing gallons and gallons of the stuff every day. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he just puts like a plastic sheet on top with a lid on top of it. You know what I mean? To stop the air getting to it. You know what I mean? And that's because that's what he said. He said if the air does get to it, it loses the potency of it. So, like you said, the opinion reader there says maybe if it's exposed, it prevents it. You know what I mean, from losing its potency. So, spot on. So you learn something new in the hobby every day, mate.
Absolutely. There we go. Right. So before I go on to the main topic, Steve, what's going on in your tank at the moment?
Nothing much, mate. To be fair. As you all know, it's the tank's going to be shutting down soon. I've got to do my electrics in my house. I had quite a severe incident in the house where one of the plug sockets literally caught fire in my son's bedroom. Thankfully, we were in the house, so got an electrician round, and he's basically not condemned it, but he said you need a new rewire in the house. So maybe it's pushed me on, a little bit quicker to get rid of the tank. Now I have got all the corals have basically been sold now. The whole thing's been sold.
Wow.
Enough. I've got a good price for it. So the tank is supposed to be going in about 3 weeks' time. So yeah, unfortunately it's going to be getting shut down. But Mick on it, we've been speaking, and we've got something in place. What we want to do, you know what I mean? The tank. I've got the plans. We've got a rough guide. In fact, it's more than rough, to be fair. It's probably about 80% all the way I want it, or the way I want to go with it. And I think it's gonna, once the room is all done and decorated and like the electrics are sorted, then it's gonna be perfect. But I am gonna be keeping my clownfish and my mandarin. So I'm going to be getting a little tank. Don't know which one yet. I'm going to get like a little nano tank to just house them in, for the time being. Because I mean that's the problem, when you're very fond of fish, it's very hard to try. Like no LFS stores, and no LFS stores really want to keep your fish. To be fair, they will do. I dare say, I dare say if I ask my local one, look, can you put them in a holding tank? And they probably will do, to be fair. But you don't want to put them out. It's as if it's as if they're saying to you, I don't really want to do it, in case anything happens, like that. But they try to be nice to you, aren't they? You know what I mean? Saying, So I'm going to get a little nano tank. Like I said, I don't know which one at this moment. Just to basically put in, I'm thinking of putting it in like my son's room or my daughter's room. Because we know while this out the bottom gets decorated and stuff. But it's and then we're going to house them in there. And then hopefully, like I said, tank will be getting built.
Get one of those, Steve. A Max Nano. If you get a Max Nano, Jay will be beside himself of excitement.
I know,
because he'll be saying, "Come on, Steve, can you run a nano tank rather than the big boys tank?"
Yeah,
hey, I'll run a nano tank. Okay? I tell you, no, but So I mean, it's a bit sweet, to be fair, because it's been like part of my life for 5.5 years. You know what I mean? And it is gutting that it's coming to an end. You know what I mean? Like you said when you took your tank down, stunning large tanker there, 5 foot thing or whatever it was, yeah. And it's like, and you shut it down, and you're like, and then I know like when it's shut down completely, I'm gonna be gutted. I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna cry, you know, in a sense, yeah. I know it. I can feel it, yeah, because it's been, and I'm gonna walk through the door, and there's not gonna be anything there. You know what I mean? And it's like
It'll
gonna
be
be
weird.
so strange and surreal.
Yeah.
It's gonna be weird, 100%, because like I said, it's been part of my life for 5 years, 5.5 years or so. But you know, I think I'm looking forward to the next chapter, version 2, Moggs' Aquarium version 2. And I think this one, from the way I've got it in my head and the way I've got it planned, I've already got an Aquascape guy who's going to be doing it for me anyway. Do you know what I mean? So I've already got that in place. I spoke to him, and he says no problem. We'll sort something out. And then, like I said, once that's done, once the tank's built, gonna get in, mate. And yeah, can't wait for it. And then the little tank that I'm gonna get, I'm gonna probably turn that. I've decided then I'm gonna probably turn that into like a little nano mini, you know, like a little mixed reef, but a nano one. I'm gonna turn that into something special as well. And yeah, I can't wait. So I'm gonna have the best of both worlds. I'm gonna have full SPS dominated tank, yeah. Full SPS dominated tank, and then a little mixed reef nano tank. You know what I mean? And I will say on this one, I will say it. I will be doing water changes on the nano. So yeah, I will be doing water changes on that. As soon as the big one's all up and running and cycled and done its thing, I will have to do water changes at the beginning for sure while it's cycling.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I know that, but hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to be once it's cycled, and I'm going to, you know, after maybe a year or so, I'm going to hopefully wean it off the water changes, and fingers crossed, we'll get back to the way as what this tank was. If you know what I mean.
Absolutely. So the question is, Steve, are you going to use live sand?
I am 100%, John. I will always, like I said, I'll always use live sand. It just gives that extra kickstart, I think.
Absolutely.
You know, when you put it in the tank. I mean, like you said, I mean, you know, you could put dry, because of the rock I'm using, it's going to be dry rock, so there's going to be no life on that. So if I put dry sand, it'll probably take the cycle a lot longer to deal with. You know what I mean? Even if I put but I spoke to a friend of mine, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy some bio balls, more bio balls. Yeah, I was going to put these ones in, but he said, you know, he's a bit undecided as to whether he wanted to put my bio balls in his tank, you know, for me to seed it. Yeah. So I said, well, I'll buy new ones. Yeah. And I'll just seed them, put them in a bag, seed them. And then when my new tank comes, I'm going to put them bio balls then into the tank. You know what I mean? And it's going to give a kickstart of seeding, you know, into the system. And then obviously start it all off, do it that way. And fingers crossed, it'll all work out well. You know what I mean? But I'm still undecided as to which way to go, you know, in cycling it, because there's loads of different ways in it. I did it old school, which is not the, you know, people don't do it that way now. You know what I mean? Or very few people do it. People tend to put a bottle of ATM colony and stick 2 fishing straight away. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I'll come to that bridge when I cross it. You know what I mean? And we'll see where we go from there.
I think the cycle is almost nowadays has become irrelevant, because it is so easy to do it. For me, it's not the cycle. Yeah. What comes after that is what you do in not just the first 10, 12 weeks. Can you start building up the biodiversity? Is then what happens in that first 6 months, and can you prevent loads of hassle, which I think is quite hard in this tank, but in a bigger tank I think it's easier to do. You can obviously, because you're in your room now, you could have fish in there and not have the lights on. The fish should be fine, and therefore you're keeping the algae at bay whilst you build up the good bacteria and everything else, because it's the lights, let's face it, that cause the problem.
It's the light, mate. That's the one thing that I'm definitely going to do, which in theory was one of the mistakes I did when I had the 170 when I first started out on the journey. Was, you know, you want to see, you've got nothing in the system, have you? Yeah, but you still want to see a bit of light, don't you, and a bit of rock. Yeah. And then I did start to got the diatoms, the brown algae, like you do.
Yeah.
But then after that, like, algae came with vengeance, mate, and it was like, what the hell? And I was new to the hobby, so it was like, you know, I was naive and maybe not, you know, not on the ball, so to speak. But this time, 100%, the light will not be on. I'm not going to run. I know people, I've read up, like, you can put it on for an hour a day, you know, just an hour a day. But I think I might just leave them off, just keep them off. You know what I mean? Set them up, leave them off, and for as long as it takes. And that way, like you said, it minimises the risk of getting major outbreaks of algae, which is the biggest pain in the bum. I know it burns itself out over time when the nutrients start to drop and stuff like that. But nevertheless, if you can, it's less work for you to do, isn't it? You know what I mean? If you don't have that problem,
that's a headache.
You know what I mean? So,
what else are you going to do differently, Steve?
Well, the skate 100%. I've spoke to the chap, and I've told him that I want it specifically for SPS. So, like a lot of flow. I'm having a lot of flow with this tank that I'm getting. I'm going to be having a dual return. So I'm going to have a corner. I'm having corners. Corners. So the corner ways. So I'm having one way where it's going to be the overflow, and then I'm going to have on the other one. I'm going to have an emergency overflow on that one, and then it's going to be obviously dual return, and then I'm going to have all in my head. I'm going to have it's going to be all blue tube, blue pipe work with a blue background sump, basically because I'm going all Ecotech near enough. You know what I mean? So it's going to be all Ecotech. So it's going to be all coordinated that way.
Fanboy.
Yeah, mate, I love it. I love Ecotech. I love it. So
no, I'm same here. Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know what? I think they're just fantastic bits of kit. So, yeah, I'm going that way, and I'm going. It's a strange thing because I'm going a 4-foot stand, but I'm going a 3-foot tank. Yeah. Now my thinking for that is I'm going to have the 3-foot tank in the centre of the stand. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
So so it's going to be a split return. Tube. Yeah. Pipe work. Split pipe work into the thing. So we're going to have the flow, like you said, coming out from both of the corners. And then in my mind, it limits maybe how many power heads I have to put on, because I'm going to be buying a M2. I'm going to buy an M2. So it's going to be quite a bit of power going through it. So fingers crossed. And then I'm having the gate valves on them, so I can adjust them as and when I want the flow. Yeah, the flow. So I'm having them put on it, and then and then when it's in the center, that then means that I'll have enough room at the side to put my KH keeper, at the side on show. And then I don't know whether I'm going to go, and then I don't know whether I'm going to go on the other side.
Trident. Yeah,
Trident,
you'll go Trident.
Or maybe the Reef factory thing. We'll see how that goes. You know what I mean? The Reef factory
smart
thing.
Tester.
I only the smart tester, because I only really want it for PO4. You know what I mean? For phosphates.
Yeah,
so
fair
to be honest,
yeah.
And as long as they're the main things, alkalinity and phosphates. As long as they're stable, then I'll be quite happy. So that is my plan. RFGs on them as well. So on the returns. So yeah, fingers crossed, mate. I've got it. What's in my head? Yeah, might not turn into reality. In a sense. Yeah, you think it is, but
makes sense,
something might change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've got a good idea of what I want. You know what I mean now. So like I said, it's down to Mickey Boy and see if he can. I'm sure he will be able to sort it all out. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun journey. You know what I mean? Yeah, can't wait, mate.
So just got a couple of comments to cover. So big shout out to Mick. Maybe a divided top-up tank being let down by another company. Nice one. Let's come back to that comment in a moment. Ocean Direct Live Sand, lovely stuff.
Yeah, great stuff.
And then I've got one here. What corals you keeping, Steve?
Well, I must admit, all of my corals are going. They've all sold. Yeah.
What, including the rainbow, the chalice?
Instead of the chalice is gone as well. Yeah. So
really,
wow.
The only coral I'm keeping. Yeah. The only coral I'm keeping is what?
Bubble.
What would you say?
Bubble
coral. The bubble
coral.
That's not
SPS though, Steve. That's not SPS.
No. If you listen to what I said,
have you made it? I've rewritten the bubble coral as an SPS.
No.
It's changed its Latin name.
No.
The bubble SPS.
I said predominantly SPS. That's what I said. Predominantly. Does that mean I'm not? Does that not mean I'm not going to shove a nice
said all SPS.
So it's a mixed reef.
Does that mean I'm not going to sell?
Yeah, it's a mixed reef.
No, it's not a mixed reef. It's just going to be the bubble. Now, let's put it.
Put
this
the
way.
bubble in the nano. Put the bubble
If
in
I
the
put the
nano.
bubble in, well, if I put it in that nano, mate, the size of like Paul's,
No
trust
rock.
me, there'll be no rock in there. It's massive. So the scape that I'm gone for, is I've got enough room, because it's going to be an overhanging scape as well, where I'm going to be able to fit the bubble underneath it, so it's going to it'll look sick. I know where I've got it in my head. The scape, drawn up some sketches, and I think it's going to look fantastic once it's up. And then, like I said, I'm going to be going after that. I'm going to be going all SPS. So I'm going to have. I'm not going to have like all high-end crazy names. You know what I mean? Like like Pink Lemonade and this that. But I am going to be having the ones that I have listed. Is I'm going to have a Pikachu 100%. I'm going to have a strawberry shortcake 100%. I'm going to have definitely 100%. I'm going to have is a nice piece of barley slime, because I think barley slime has just looked fantastic in a tank. I'm going to definitely have one of them. And then I want a piece of green anacropod, or something I've never kept. But I know what's he called's got it. Lilian, he's got some, the pink, the green one, that big bright green one that he's got. And it looks absolutely fantastic. So I want a piece of that as well. So those 4 are what I'm going to go into. And then I'll probably pay Christian a little visit over at Signature Frags, and we'll get maybe 4 to 5 special pieces. And really, to be honest, I think that's all I'm going to do, because I'm not going to pack it up like I did with this one, because you're just going to
get some choice pieces. Nice.
Yeah, and then I'm going to get a piece of what's it called? Montipori. What's it called? The one that's 2 different colours, the green and orange, the morphed one. What do they call it? You know the one I mean, don't you? The one that's fingered, that's morphed.
No idea. Not the Walt Disney.
I know which. No, I know.
No, the Monty.
No, it means the plate. The plate of Monty. It's the grafted. Grafted Monty.
The grafted Monty.
Grafted Monty is what you're on about.
Oh, I know the one you mean. Sorry. Right.
I'm going to get a piece of grafted Monty as well. So that's the one. And I'm going to get a piece of that. And really, to be honest, that's probably going to be it. So no more than, I'd say,
liar.
10 corals. No, 10 corals.
Let's see what happens. 10 corals or a bubble coral. Let's see.
Yeah, 10 corals. Remember,
are they all going to be frags like mine?
No.
They're going to be large frags.
Mini colonies.
They're going to probably be called mini. Well, obviously the higher end ones are not going to be. You know what I mean? They'll probably be half inch or some inch things. But like, if I can get a decent sized ones, a couple of decent sized ones, then I will do. You know what I mean? But I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to go all out crazy stupid price ones. I'm just going to be, the one, some genuine ones, like I said, barley slimer, and the ones that are well known, strawberry shortcakes.
The classics.
That's the classics, the old school ones. Yeah, the classic.
What about some tabling acros? Because tabling ones look really good.
Yeah, but they can take over, can't they? Those things, they do look nice, don't get me wrong.
I love an effluence. I love the efflow. I love an efflow. I think it's brilliant coral tabling.
I get it. 100%. But to be honest, I haven't really looked into that. But I dare say, all right, then I'll probably say 12 corals instead of 10. Then
12 going on 35. I was in the shop,
12 corals,
and this one I went out with the missus, and she liked that one. So before I knew it, it was in the bag, and it was in the tank. And he'll have torches and all those. Before you know it, it's got a mixed reef.
Before you know it, he's got a third tank.
I'll tell you one thing, my missus is the worst one. She says to me, like, I'm mad, when I go into shops, she will go, I'm not coming with you to the shop. But when I go into the shop, seriously, she sees a coral, she goes, that's lovely. Look at that. That's really, really nice. And I go, bloody hell, it is nice. That's a nice one, that. And she goes, you getting it? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not getting it. No, I've got no space. You know what I mean? Oh, I'll get it. She's the worst than me, mate. So,
I've done that.
Isn't that like a game where that means that because you've spent what you've spent in your tank, that she's plugged you to spend on your tank, that therefore you've got to spend that on her?
Listen. The whole house, the living room.
Oh, right, okay.
She's designing this, We've got the fireplace that I'm getting is about 600 quid, and it's only electric fireplace, It's like so that you're walking. she wants a TV on the wall and she wants this, that, and the other, mate. Listen,
Right, okay.
it's going to cost a hell of, and then obviously the electrics, which are costing a fortune. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I mean, listen, it's gonna with everything in, mate. God, it's freaking hell, yeah. It's
Few grand.
gonna be well over
Your
over
eyes
10
are
grand,
watering.
I reckon.
Your eyes
So
are watering, Steve.
it's a lot of money, mate. You know what I mean? But yeah, my eyes are watering.
Did you get a good price on your corals?
Well, what?
Did you get a good price on your corals?
I got a very good price on the corals, and
Good.
to be honest, the corals that I've got, that sold, like basically that's going to pay for my tank, it's going to pay for my rockscape, and it's going to pay towards some of the corals as well that I'm going to get. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So to be honest, yeah, as much as it's been a hard slog and a labour of love, you could say, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's still paid. It's paid for itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm gonna go. And I'm going on a new.
That's good to know.
And I'm going on
definitely.
a new journey. You know what I mean? And it's not like I need to buy any more gear because I've got the gear. So like that's the good thing is that it's different.
Good, isn't it?
We say it all the time. Buying a tank is the easy thing. The hardest and more expensive is buying all the equipment that goes with it.
And then all your corals, your 12 corals.
Yeah, exactly. My 12 corals. So
Reef.
13 because Tom just persuaded me to get a table in coral, mate. So yeah,
efflow. You need a piece of efflow in there. You definitely do.
Yeah. You talk about that. So I was in AAC with Jill, and she loved this Goniopora, so it's now sitting there.
Yeah.
So and I said, I'm not sure I want a Goniopora. So we ended up with a Goniopora in this tank, and it's not a frag.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's quite a biggie as well.
That's a good size. I know. Yeah, I can see it from here.
Yeah, so it's a decent one. So yeah, if I take Jill, I'm more likely to actually get corals with the tank than.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Because she's so unhappy with this tank. She said, "Let's put that in there because it'll look less shit than it is."
Yeah, mate. I'll tell you, honest to God, yeah. If I took my missus, seriously, to Signature Flags, if I took her there, I'm not lying now. I will be remortgaging the house, and maybe putting one of my livers on the black market or something, for sale or something. Because I kid you not,
one of your kidneys.
This is one of my kidneys. This is going to be like major. This is what would happen. She'll be like, I love that, and I kid you not, mate. I'm not lying to you. This is what she's like. So yeah, I'm going to be going up there on my own once. But I must admit, I've got to emphasise, I'm not rushing this tank. This is one thing. I'm not rushing it because especially with SPS, we all know. I know people. People can say you can put SPS in couple of months, 2 months, 1-2 months, etc., etc. Once it's cycled and you got that bio load and biodiversity in your tank. But I've seen a lot of the really good tanks which really take off. They don't put them in for like 6 to 9 months. Do you know what I mean? They start putting them in.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a long haul slog. Don't get me wrong. First year there's gonna be very little going on. So that's why I'm gonna be getting my little nano tank, whichever one I buy. I'm going to get that, and I'm going to do videos on that, and I'll probably spend more time on that, to be fair, than I would on my big system.
Doing water changes. Do you know how to do it?
Water changes, mate.
A video on how to do a water change, step by step by Jay.
No, I'll do one, mate. Yeah, like, how do you do it? How do you do water changes after 5 years? That'll be a good thumbnail.
Wow.
I'll do that, mate. I will do that. No, but like I said, mate, I can't wait.
Exciting times.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exciting times, but like you know, Tom, you just set yours up, so you know yourself. Once you've had tanks before, you've had loads of tanks, and you know yourself when you set a new one up. And when I came to your house and I seen it, it was like, oh man, like it does get that. You get that urgency, you get that finger, like that fire going. God, I love a new tank. And really, like I said, with what's going on in the house, just kick me up the arse to say, you know what, Steve, this is the time to sort it all out. You know what I mean, and start again. You know what I mean? So, because like you said, with this tank, I can't go any more with it. It's done. It's grown as far as it can grow.
Yeah.
I can't put any more coral in it.
One of the benefits these days is daft as it sounds, is actually ironically is YouTube. Because when I first got in the hobby years ago, it wasn't really a thing on YouTube, to watch somebody else's fish tank. It was like, really? But now there's hundreds, thousands of videos, and you can just sit there all Sunday afternoon, whatever, and just go through all these different thumbnails and videos and just see, I like that, or don't like that one, didn't think of that. And you can literally fast forward in terms of knowledge and mistakes that other people have made. You can avoid it quite quickly for me by spending a bit of time online and looking at stuff.
I said that before. There was 2 or 3 channels that I watched when I first started the first couple of years, and I learned so much in how not to do it, and how they were doing things and chopping and changing and killing stuff and blah blah blah. So in a way, it was good for me because I learned from other people's mistakes, and I didn't kill a thing, and I didn't waste any money. So there was all the pitfalls. You don't get so many that I've seen now of people that really make a mess of it.
No, I mean, for me, the original community was in the fish shop. You know, you go on a Saturday, you get your frozen food, you get a, but you know, before I even got an RO machine years ago, you get some RO or salt or whatever you do. You might buy a frag or 2. You spend probably, 3 hours. The missus was ringing. You put your phone on silent because you're talking about corals all afternoon. That was the little community, maybe then it advanced to an online platform, Ultimate Reef, Facebook, something like that,
absolutely.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And then for me, over the last few years, I've learned so much more, in the hobby from YouTube. And like I say, even the people across, you're looking at people across the pond, aren't you, in America and
all
Germany and wherever else, all over the place. So definitely for me, the YouTube, for me, the videos that people put on there. But I'd also say try and stay clear of the people who've only just launched a channel and only just got a tank, because there's a few of those as well.
Yeah, and it's a constant churn, isn't it? The ones that you can probably rely on, the ones that have been around for a number of years, and they've had loads of tanks and loads of videos, and you can see that pretty soon just by looking on the thumbnails around how many videos they've done, how long they've got around and stuff like that. So you can weed those out quite easily, I suspect. On that.
Well, like you said, I was like you. I just watched a couple when I was looking into it. As you know, I researched it for quite some time anyway.
Yeah.
But then, there was, like you said, there was only like 3 or 4 channels that I really watched. Obviously, BRS was the biggest one that I used to watch all the time. Just used to watch them every solitary day, mate. No matter what they put up, even they could have been talking about anything, unwrapping this or doing that. I was just watching it all the time. And then there was like CJ's aquarium. He had his JBJ. He had his JBJ. I think they're only mainly in America, I think, JBJ tank. And it was absolutely stunning. And I used to drool and think, oh, man, I love a tank like that. And then, you know what, eventually 5 years on, I did get a tank just as good as this, do you know what I mean? And then he came out of the hobby. He went away because he did his something to do with his school. I think he was like a rugby teacher or soccer teacher, whatever they go. So he went out of it, and he's only just come back in his tank now. He's absolutely stunning. So I'm beginning to watch him again.
He's back because wasn't he a coach for NFL for American football team?
He's a coach.
I know the guy you mean. So he's back, is he?
Yeah, he's back, and you want to see his tank now, mate? Oh yeah, he's like brilliant. So I'm back on watching him.
I know the guy you mean.
Fantastic. I love CJ's. It's just brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant, mate. I love his.
I have to look him back up.
And then, like you said, that Mile's Reef. I used to watch him. I watched him all the time.
Mile's Reef.
I was obsessed with him. That Mile's Reef. Everything he talks about, everything he says is like perfect. And then he's got that great big 20-odd-year-old anemone tank, with a clownfish tall anemones. Yeah. Anemones the size of the massive, mate.
Massive,
channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does very little with it. So it just goes to show, like when you think like he says he hardly does anything with that tank, which fascinates me.
I think the benefit of a lot of the videos though, like that, Steve, is that you've got people who are giving advice or sharing, experiences, and they've got a tank to show you, because quite often people will give an opinion on something, whether it's how to do something right or wrong. And I think for me, it just, if you've got a visual, look at what I'm running, it just for me it just backs it up a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
There's a comment there. Jay's channel was good, to be fair. It was good, but it's pretty crap now, and it doesn't make any videos.
I must admit, and another one actually I did used to watch was Aaron's Aquarium as well. I used to love watching him, to be fair. Aaron's Aquarium. He was good.
He was tense sometimes. He used to make changes to the tank and you never
other than
know
the
what was
changes.
going to happen. He would throw,
Yeah, other than the
he
changes.
threw in 30 chromis at one time, and he had no idea what was going to happen. And then he
Right.
settled down, and he actually created some really good tanks. But when
Yeah,
I
he
first
did.
started watching him, he chopped and changed like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then actually
Absolutely.
realised
No, he
that
did.
wasn't the way to do it. And then he had some
Yeah.
really nice stuff towards the end, to be fair.
Yeah, he did. He did.
But there we go. Right, we've come to the end of all the comments. Right, so what we're going to do now, and this is either going to work or it's going to fall on its ass. Right, is creating the perfect tank. So what I want to do is, right, let me just share my screen. Right, so before I do that, right, what kind of size do we want to build? If you look at your perfect tank, maybe you've got the perfect tank behind you, Tom. The maximum size is 7 foot. What kind of tank do we want to go up to 7 foot? If anyone's got any ideas in the comment, what if you went for your perfect tank up to 7 foot?
I think a 5 foot. I think a 5 foot's the perfect size.
525.
525, 5 foot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be saying 5x2x2, probably.
Okay. Right, that's just enough. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring up a tank builder, and we're going to build a tank.
Right, okay. Here's one I made earlier.
Well, yeah, it's not what I've made.
Feel like I'm on Blue Peter.
That's what I mean. He's got a little badge.
Right.
Bless you.
Here we go. So a 525. So it doesn't have to be a Red Sea tank. So I know there's be some people in the stream that hate Red Sea, although us guys we like Red Sea, right? So we're getting $5,000 for a 5 foot tank, but put that to one side. Oh, that's fully equipped. I don't want a fully equipped tank. Wait a minute. Build your own. Where's a build your own 525? There you go. Right, so $2,500. So this is what 540 liters and 5 foot. Right. So and this is where I'm going to start using the pole. So if you had a 5 foot tank, what would you do? Let's start off with the sump. So if you was looking at your filtration, would you go for filter socks, or would you go for, say, a roller filter? So I'm going to do a poll on this one.
Well, we know the answer to the roller filter from the other week, don't we? It's going to be unanimous. Everybody wanted a roller filter from memory. Is that all right? About 80%, something like
that? Was it? Yeah, I think it was. Right. About 80%.
I thought it was quite
high. There you go. There's the poll. Filtration is either filter sock or roller filter. And if you think, no, I wouldn't go for either one of those, I'd go for something else. What would you go for in the comments? So put it in the poll. What one of those two you would go for? And if neither of those, what's the alternative to those two? So Tom, you haven't got a roller filter or filter sock, have you? What are you using?
Well, I'm just using good old fashioned filter floss that I change every 2 days.
Well, but you're getting you've got a trickle filter and all that, haven't you? On yours.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, but that's just because I can put media in bags if I want to, and it just obviously it trickles through and it just goes through that section. Basically, it was just something I came up with.
Basically, it's like having exactly what we see on the screen there, isn't it? Like having socks or media baskets in it.
Yeah,
that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. I've just got literally a layer. It's about 550 by 250 mil in terms of size, and I just take it out, and that just sits on the egg crate. But underneath the egg crate, there's 9 baskets that I think 6 of them have got media bowls in them, but the other 3 are empty at the minute. But I can put a silicate remover in, I could put carbon in, I could put Rowafoss in, whatever I want to put in. And again, that was designed just for my laziness, really. I didn't want to faff around with reactors and nylon screws, so that's all I did. Just try to keep it simple.
Absolutely. Right, I'm going to end the poll because it's unanimous. If I can find the poll in it. Right, so it is in the poll. 77% for roller filter and the rest for filter socks.
I thought it was about 80% last week or the week before when we did it. Yeah.
So again, I'm going to use a Red Sea product, but you know there's other mates available. So if I select that, there we go. It goes in the sump. There we go. Right. So
that's right.
if we then look at, let's go back up. So lights. So what lights would you use? I'm trying to think, how many lights would you use?
It tells you. You know, when you click on that light, on the light
Right.
thing, it'll tell you
Let's come down.
the recommended of how many lights they recommend.
Oh, there we go. There's
on
the
it.
lights.
Yeah.
So on
So
this one, it would go
best is 3
for
units
3 Reef 90s or
£360 each.
2
or
160s.
2 160s.
So
Wow.
what would you? So
I
what would
would
you
go-
put on? Because I on my 5
I would go
foot, I had
3.
two XR30s and 1 XR15. So people that got
Yeah.
OCD, you're probably not like that because you haven't got 3 lights that are the same.
The
To
same.
be fair.
Yeah.
If I did it again, I'd probably go for 3 XR15s.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would need 30s because on a 5 foot tank with the way that the Gen 6s are, I'm not sure I would need that. What would you go for, XR30s or XR15s, Steve? I know you're going to ask if you go for Radions or not, because I know what you'd go for.
Yeah, I'll go for Radions for sure. But you see, my take on this is if you don't mind, you know, where in this, if you was going like 3 Reef LED 90s there,
Yeah.
if you don't mind the third one going in the actual rear chamber, you know, in your actual overflow, because that's where it will be, you know, the bracket.
That's where I had mine. You have a cutaway.
Yeah, that's the only. Yeah. But if you had like say the Radions like I did, the Radion lit the cutaway, it won't fit. You know what I mean? It won't fit. So you've got to make it
okay.
somehow. No. If you've got the Radion bracket, mine won't fit. You know when I had my
really?
Hydra, when I had my Hydras, that's why if you look back on some of my videos, even when I snapped the cutout of it, it wouldn't go down flush. It wouldn't go down flush. It was still too big. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It was catching on the bracket. So that was the only issue. And then hence the reason, because I was originally thinking of going 3 XR15s on it. That's what I was originally going to do.
That was on a,
but then I thought, you know,
foot.
Yeah, on a foot. But then in the end, I chose like these 2 Radion, you know, XR30s. And to be fair, they do look a lot better. They look more aesthetically pleasing, I could say. But I reckon the best way, if you don't mind, I would have said would probably be the 3 like that.
3 like that. Okay. Now,
what's the difference between the 2? Sorry, what's the difference between the 90 and the 160?
A lot more
power. Size of the puck?
They're more power.
I don't know. I don't know if the spread's better, but they're more powerful. I've got the 50 on this one, so that's obviously the smallest one, and I think then you've got a 160. I think there might be a bigger one as well. I'm not sure, or whether 160 is the biggest that they do. That I'm not too sure.
Have you done a poll on this one?
How does that compare to an XR13 in price? I don't even know what the price of these things are these days.
I mean, I've got the price there somewhere. There they go. They're 549 for 160. Yeah. That's more expensive than XR15. What's a 15? 400 quid?
XR15 is 400, 399.
Yeah. Whereas the 30s are what, 799 or 749 off the top of my head?
799, aren't they?
Are they 799? That's without the mounts, but you got the mounts to go on this as well. So, but
what,
the
Gen
XR30s obviously got 2 pucks.
So what about the Gen 6s?
Yeah, the Gen 6s, yeah.
I thought they were near $1,000 at the minute, aren't they?
If you
they're only at 799, I think, yeah.
Oh, are they? All right, okay.
Yeah. Right. So the next thing,
like you said though, when you get the bracket on it though, that's the thing. So the brackets are like what 125, 130 or something like that, aren't they? So it takes it up to, you know, so you're paying 800, so you're talking like closer to $1,000. Well, 950 quid out of per light. You know what I mean? When you look at it like
1,647 quid on 3 Elite Red Sea lights. Wow,
that's
expensive.
Exactly.
That's a lot. That. Sorry, speaking out loud,
that's
a lot.
No, that
is a lot of dough. Christ.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about them, so I can't say whether they're good or not. But I just thought that's a lot more expensive than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a lot, isn't it? Right, now I'm going to change it back to the sump because I just want to show you this these sumps. So if you didn't have the Red Sea sump, would you go for something like this? Right, just got to stop sharing this 1 minute.
Dreambox. No.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, it is. They are. I mean, if you have a look at some of these
Now you're
sumps,
going on, now you're going on to extreme, mate. Look at it.
Definitely have one of those on my next
there
build.
was one I
if I
saw
can
the other
afford one.
day. It was just
Definitely.
unbelievable. These are sample ones.
Yeah,
When you
this-
start
they
looking
are
at them,
real.
Look at that.
let's go to this one.
5,000 quid, mate.
This is 4,400.
Wow.
Oh,
And
Everything
dear.
you can
included?
have whatever you like.
Oh, mate. Wow.
It's not
It's
blue though,
just-
Steve. You can't have it.
I don't know if
No,
you can
that's
have blue.
madness.
I mean, some
I'll
of
tell
them
you
you've got
what,
roller
listen.
filters as well.
Yeah, the big
You know what I
ones
do
with the
like?
roller
You know what-
filters
you
in
know
it are
what-
Look
unreal.
at that.
You know what I do like is I like that thing at the side, you know, the RO, the water there.
What, to the
Oh,
right hand
top up.
side?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to the right there. That looks mint, that. I like that. Yeah.
Do you
Right,
like it
Mick,
enough
I
to
might be on
spend
the
that
phone-
kind of money
I might
though?
be on the phone to you, Mick. We might have to get one of these sorted.
I mean, if you look at where's the one? There's ones with roller filters. I can't seem to find one on here, but they've got roller filters as well. But you're talking. I mean, this is a smaller one. You're talking like 3-4 grand.
Is that just the sum?
Yeah. I don't know. If,
Oh,
I don't know
mate.
if you get all the
Don't,
kit as well.
don't think it includes
You
the
get the
equipment.
kit or not?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Let's
I
have a
looked
look.
at it years
I know-
ago. and
I know they might be.
couldn't believe
I know
how
they might be
expensive they are.
brilliant. I know they might be brilliant kits, mate, but they're not worth that. I'm sorry, they're not worth
No.
5 grand. For
No.
some. No chance. They're not worth that.
No.
No way, mate. No, I'm
It's-
sorry.
That's a lot
no,
of dough,
um,
isn't it?
Did you see?
No
is
way.
it- it's right, it's
So
right.
if you was going all inclusive, yeah, this has annoyed me. This house, you know.
All inclusive. Was it a holiday?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry, all royal exclusive. Yeah,
Breakfast,
you're going all royal
lunch,
exclusive. Yeah,
snacks.
you know what I'm saying. You're looking at for that sum there. You're looking at about 10 grand, mate. No.
Yeah.
No.
Did you see?
That's not right.
Did you ever watch? Is it right? It's Ryan, isn't it? Off BRS. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
Ryan,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
see the one the tank he had at his house? And
He had one, didn't he? He had a
Dreambox.
big old sum.
Yeah, big old dream box in that other room. That had a automatic filter in it. That was
Yeah.
impressive. Yeah, but I'm sure he gets a discount.
Yeah, sure he does. No.
And just one comment. So Scott's on there about 3 adverts come on this one straight. I tell you what, I have noticed when I'm watching YouTube, they're a nightmare. They're now putting. I had the other day where you had 50 seconds of adverts and you couldn't skip through it, and they had like 10 seconds, 20 seconds. It was doing my head in, Scott. So I don't think I could switch them off for live streams. I think they put them on there regardless. So apologies, and I get virtually pennies for that. But yeah, it is annoying, but not a lot I can do about it on that. Right. So yeah, would you get on your dream tank one of those sumps? So let's have a look at a poll.
If money was no object,
Yeah, would you
Yeah.
buy?
All right, yeah. Say that, yeah. If money was no object, then yeah. But yeah. I wouldn't specifically just go out and get one. Even if I did have a bit of spare cash and I could afford it, I wouldn't go out and buy one. You know what I mean? If I was rich and a millionaire and no money was no object, like you said, then yeah, of course I would. You know what I mean? But that's like anything, innit? You're not going to drive around in a Vauxhall Corsa if you
but
10 million.
but this is what we're saying
You
the
know
other
what I
week.
mean?
Isn't it?
Simple-
Do you need
same
it,
thing,
or do you
mate.
want? Do you need it, or do you want it? You know, or is it
Well, yeah,
essential?
exactly.
And it's all the
Absolutely,
same in it. Conversation.
Yeah, of course it
Yeah.
is.
That's what, to be
Of course
fair
it is.
to
It's
Mick, though, that's why we
exhausting.
designed my sump the way we did, because obviously I've got the Royal exclusive, the pumps and the skimmer.
Yeah.
So that's why we went
Yeah.
with the red background and the white trim and the white bottom in vinyl, just to tie it in. So there's absolutely no way on this planet I was going to spend that kind of money for a plastic box.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So Mick, the poll is there. I've put the poll up, so it must be there somewhere. So because people are voting. Right. Let's get some comments on there. Mick would go for a Triton sump. YouTube Premium. So that's what you'd have to pay. I know Ross has that, doesn't he? So he has no ads on that. I've got no idea how much that is. Paul, I love my dream box. 8 years old, bought it in stages. Yeah, fair enough. I've got to say, on my next big tank, I'll be really tempted to do what you've done, Tom, and that's go for a Royal exclusive skimmer, and because they're dead quiet, and also they look really nice as well. I don't know about a return pump, whether I'd go Royal exclusive. I probably couldn't justify an Abyss, I must admit, with the size I'll get, because it'd be totally too small for one of those pumps. But I'd love to have one of those. 10 years, and they're the Rolls Royce of pumps, aren't they? The Abyss.
They are.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
But you know what, though? You still need to take it apart and clean it, don't you? You know what I mean? You still got to do your maintenance on them, haven't you? You know what I mean? It's simple, isn't it? And it comes from exactly like you said, like what Tom's just said before. Do you need it? You know what I mean? A crazy price for a pump, or I reckon
Well, when you go to Signature Frags and you spend £500, Steve. Yeah,
that's a fair point.
Do you need it? Yeah, but that's different.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
Corals you're going to see every day. Those corals you're going to see grow every day.
It's got nothing to do with that at all. Because it's called Pinocchio's snot. You're going to spend 200 quid on it.
I tell you what, that'd sell well. That would, Tom. What about
Pinocchio's snot?
Yeah, it's a brilliant.
Made it up.
I'll be on the website next week. Hey, no, I tell you, mate. Listen, you see your corals every day. You don't see a pump. You know what I mean? It's Pinocchio's snot. That's a pearl of that. I love it. Yeah, I like that one.
But he does have a fair point about, would you go and spend 500 quid in Signature Frags?
Yeah, but I was looking. Sorry to on sidetrack. I was looking the other day on like eBay and stuff, and because obviously I was curious to see what prices frags are these days. And people are just coming up with names. It's like obvious what it is, and even people are calling some of the corals names that it isn't that coral, because it's obviously not a barley slimer, because it doesn't look anything like it. It's green, but that's it. And it's just like behave.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Such a shame.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Right.
Got sidetracked.
That's right.
Back to
no, it's fair point. Right. End the poll. So I've ended it. We have 55% or 54% said yes. 45% said no. That even if money wasn't an object, you've kind of got a pretty even split there, haven't you?
Really?
On
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at that, to be fair. Surprised at that. If money was no objects, I would have thought that would be a lot higher than that, to be fair.
Yeah.
So just goes to show. Go on. All the money goes on coral. All the money goes on coral rather than a sump. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is.
No, I was going to say, there's a couple of brands like Royal Exclusive, to be fair to them, that they don't even advertise. They don't push any of the products.
No, do you? No.
You don't see them. No, you're right. And they
so
ship those around the world, don't they?
A much smaller sort of, audience, client base for them. And I think it's more like recommendation, word of mouth.
I agree. Absolutely. Right. So moving on, would you go for a protein skinner in your tank as a matter of course?
Something that big, yeah. It's a must. It's a must, mate, I think. In a tank that big. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'm not going to put that as a poll. So, let's put it up anyway. Would you add a protein? Right, okay, that's the latest one. So protein skimmer, I think it's I'd be surprised if this is not a resounding yes.
It's got to be on it, surely.
You would have thought so. Right. So in terms of what else would you put in a tank that size? You got, say, a roller filter, you got a skimmer. Would you do anything else for filtration? Because that's, I mean,
you know what?
Roller filter is quite heavy filtration, isn't it? You don't want to overdo it.
Well, I'm assuming we're going down the whole. Go on, Steve.
Oh, go on, Tom. Go on, mate.
I was saying, I'm assuming we're going media blocks or, in the sump? Are we putting media bottle? Are we putting media in the sump? Are we putting refugium in? Are we not putting refugium in? There's a few questions there. And
that's the question. So if you've got a roller filter, and I'm going to end the poll pretty quick. It's 92% as a yes. That should come up now. Yeah, it's a 92% yes. So I think that that's a big old majority, isn't it? Let's face it. The next thing is, what would you, if you had room in there, what would you do? Would you go for a refugium? Would you go for the additional blocks or bioballs?
I would love to be successful in a refugium, to be fair. I tried it, and I said it before that I think it was because I had a crappy light and my tank wasn't old enough. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But, to be honest, if I would love to do, like, say for instance, a skimmer, and then a refugium. It's not skimmer, sorry, a clarity or a roller filter, and then a next chamber, a refugium with like proper light, proper grow light, and see if it works, properly. Because I know a lot of lads, a lot of friends of mine who've run refugiums, and they swear by it. Don't run protein skimmers. You just have a refugium. They put there's loads of biodiversity in there in terms of copepods and stuff like that. And they just say it's just a better ecosystem in the sump. And I totally agree with them. You know what I mean? But like I said, I was never successful. But I think that was just because it was a bit too young, my tank. But if I could get away with it and try it, then I would do. You know what I mean?
Then I think you can do too much, and you can run it too clean as well. I've done that.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. You could. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it grew. The actual Cheeto grew even under a crappy light, but it wasn't like, you see some of them. You see some tanks where they're like a little ball, like the size of a tennis ball, and then after a week or two, they're like a bloody basketball. They're absolutely massive, and you're like, wow, that is insane. You know what I mean?
Best experience I had with a refugium though was when I was tumbling it. With a little power head.
Yeah, where it tumbles. Yeah. How does it tumble like that? I find that fascinating.
I just put an old gyro at the bottom of the sump, and it literally pushed the water at the bottom, and it just turned it round, so it just tumbled the Cheeto.
Yeah, I always see it. I love it when it tumbles like that. I find it fascinating.
It's just obviously you're getting the growth all the way around rather than just sitting at the top. Otherwise you get that skin.
Yeah, I've just added another poll. Would you add a refugium? So we'll see what people add to that. The only thing I would say is what I've seen some people do when they start a tank, they just put loads of filtration in. So they'll do the roller filter, they'll do the skimmer, they'll do the bio balls, although they take a little while to seed, don't they? And then the nutrients just bottom out because you've set all that filtration up and there's nothing to take out. So you end up bottom out, and I think people get dinos because they end up with too much filtration. I mean, we've discussed that before, Steve, where you can put the gate on the clarity open, can't you? So it's not actually using.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
you can like you said. Yeah, I do that quite. To be honest, my gate on mine is open halfway. I think probably halfway. So that's why those rolls on mine literally last me over 3 months, 3.5 months. They very rarely go that because they're not. If I had it closed, then don't get me wrong, it would probably only last me maybe a month and a half, 2 months or something. But because I have it open halfway, let some of the nutrients pass through. You know what I mean? It's it lasts me 3.5 months having the gate valve. That's a good thing with them, is that you can open it and close it as much as you want.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do that on the Red Sea one. I haven't had the Red Sea, so I don't know if it has got a gate valve on it. I don't know.
I don't know.
If anyone's got the Red Sea one, if anyone's got the Reef mat, let us know if you can do what you can do on the Clarity, which is open the gate and just let the water through, so it's not filtering.
From memory, though, when I put my Clarity on my 625, I had to do some chopping out of some of the baffles, some of the glass, if I remember rightly, because of how it sat in the stump.
You do.
Which was a pain in the arse.
Steve, didn't you? But it's the D.
I did it.
So I've got the DD Reef. Yeah. Go on, Steve. You go first.
I did it. No, I did it. Yeah, that's exactly, and that's the word. Like I say, if I can recommend anyone, if for instance you get a tank and unfortunately you've got like you said, you've got the filter socks that's already built into it. Say, and
that's it. I chop that out. That's it.
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of companies now. Yeah, they actually put down on their website, it says filter socks, and then it says Clarity or filter roller. That's what it'll say on it.
Oh, so you can choose.
So you can pick and choose which one you're having, which is a lot better now, which they should have done. But I assumed they didn't know how popular they would be.
Yeah, it's mine of that like black plastic tray that you slid out.
Oh, mate, I was like forever. I was cutting it, with a Stanley knife. Bear in mind, obviously, while my tank's up, and I was like slicing it, and then the next bit, like the Stanley blade snapped a little tiny bit.
Take your fingers off like that.
So it's right in the water, mate. The metal. So I'm like, oh my god! I'm like out with a magnet, then try to find the little piece, because if you leave that in, it's gonna rust. And I'm like, oh god! And it was just.
But if you were buying this and it was dry, you'd do it dry, wouldn't you?
Straight off. Oh yeah.
Well,
off. I think they haven't fitted anyway, don't they? These ones now, but you would.
Well, with these ones, when I bought the DD Reef Pro, you could have it for filter socks or for rotor filters. So that meant mine's nearly 4 years old now, and all you got to do is just sit it in there, and the pipe just goes in the back, and that's it. It's really easy to set up. That's on the Reef Pro, and with these, the latest version of the Reef mat. You can just have it set up, so you haven't got to cut any baffles up. I think it's just got flexible pipe, and then it just goes onto your existing downpipe. So I think they're beginning to make it more and more now, where you haven't got to take to breaking up the sump. That's just nuts, isn't it? So the next thing Refugium was 66% yes, 33% no. So there's a majority there. The other thing which we've discussed a few times before, which is UV. So would you add a UV to the tank? Let's start.
I'd probably have it on there as an option. I'd have it plumbed in as an option, so you could tee off it if you wanted to, or not.
Yeah.
Always. Always.
Well,
always, mate.
Maybe not.
I've always ran it. But
not necessarily on a new system.
On my new system, I'm gonna have it plumbed in. Obviously, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and when
that's
it's all
what I mean.
up and running, then I will. But if the question is, would I run one? Yeah. If the question is, would I run one on my tank?
Yes.
Absolutely, I would run that on my tank. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, we're not talking like at the beginning, but when everything's in there, your fish and your stuff like that, I just believe in them. I know they can kill. They can kill a lot of microfauna and stuff and things, but they also kill the bad stuff as well. And I think that's why I've been very lucky in a sense. I've never really, none of my fish have ever died from any pests or any illnesses. You know what I mean? So I think it, for the price of them, I think it's just worth it to get one if you've got space. That's another thing, because some of them are quite big, aren't they? You know what I mean? Like I have that Vectron, the Vectron UV one, and it's quite a bulky fit. I mean, I am going to go with a UV again, but I want to see if there's any smaller units that I can have. I mean, yours are fairly small, aren't they? To be fair, Tom, they're not like big.
I won't go down that route. I won't go down that route because of bulbs. You're not gonna be able to get bulbs.
Troptronic.
You're gonna have a nightmare. Trust me. There's an issue there. That's a conversation on WhatsApp. Yeah, not on here. Right. If I was going to go UV again, I'd go Deltec. I'd go the Deltec one.
Fair play.
For the price and the size and the cost of the bulb replacing it.
Yeah,
because that's what you've got to bear in mind.
From it, you have to send those away to be replaced.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of an issue. If you've got to take it off and send it away to Germany, you have to send it away to Germany. I've never. I've
got two spare ones, so I've not had to do it as yet. But but because I'm doing in the KZ on this tank, I only had the UV plumbed in originally because of me bringing the fish in. So it wasn't something I was going to run long term. And if I ever decided to change methods, I've always got it there. Like I said earlier, it's better to have it plumbed in as a backup if you've got the money and the space. I think the big thing there is space, because looking at that sump, as neat as it looks, that compartment on your right hand side, by the time you've put I know these guys, there's not much room in these tanks at all. No, there isn't. It looks nice, but again, you start putting in your doses and your ATO or a barrel of this and a barrel of that and a Trident or a KH Keeper, and it just looks like spaghetti junctions.
Well, there's not much room at all, because with the Red Sea tanks now, whereas they used to come with the containers, the RO that sit on top.
All right,
you don't get a
mine
reservoir
did.
anymore.
Yeah,
so you don't.
You don't?
So you don't.
All right, okay.
You don't get any more. So you know, if you put an
mine
RO
sat on top, it had a
right-hand
little black nipple sort of thing that came out. Yeah.
My 170 has that, but I don't use that. Because it's in the garage, I just put a bucket by the side. So the problem you've got in a lot of tanks, the DD ones are pretty good because you've got an actual container built into the sump, so it doesn't last long, but it lasts about 5 days. So that's manageable. You know, if you want a nice clean tank, where are you going to put your RO?
Yeah.
If you put it in there, you've got no room for anything else, have you?
Yeah. See, that's the issue we have with our tanks, isn't it? It's the space. That's
it is.
You know, like,
and that's why my sump that Mick did me, the custom sump with the ATO, which, by the way, Steve, ironically, I'm only having to top up once a week, which is nice. Is for the volume of my water is absolutely bang on. Bit of luck again there, but absolutely spot on. I wouldn't go without that.
Do you think it's because it's all encased with your surrounding stuff that the evaporation is not as bad?
I'd probably say time of year as well.
Weather, time of year.
You know,
that's
but
true.
Then let's see what happens when the missus puts the heating on. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not running the T5s, and they will have been, blasting a lot. So there's a few caveats to it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So the poll on the UV just ended it. It's 56% yes and 43% no. So again, another time. I've never run UVs. I'd probably consider a UV if I was going to have a tank that I had quite a few tangs in.
Yeah.
But I mean, they could work on all fish. But I mean, all the tanks I've got. And I've never run. I've had it once, and that was because I had the tangs in the bigger tank. But Touchwood, other than that, they've all been fine. I mean, but I think if I was to go down a tang route, I would.
Yeah, the Troptronics that I've got on this though, I'd already got them from in the fish house, so I used them.
Oh, okay.
But again, in hindsight, I wouldn't have used them if I was doing the perfect tank. I wouldn't have used them because the heat that they generate is ridiculous. The ballast is ridiculous. You could do your ironing with them. It's that hot, and I'm not exaggerating.
Really?
Yeah,
that's not good, is it?
They get that hot, you can't touch them.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Fire hazard. Freaking.
Well, no, but they get hot. Trust me, they do.
Yeah.
Wow.
So here's one about ozone or no ozone.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I've never really considered it before. I know very little about it. And if you look at the BRS 52 weeks. They're putting ozone on all of their tanks, and they're going to run them for 1 hour overnight. And I must admit, I know very little about ozone, so I kind of just about know what it is, to be fair. I don't know the science behind it or anything like that, because I've never really looked into it. I've never really seen any videos on it or done any investigation into it. So I know, have you run ozone before, Tom?
I've not really before. I've got a small system that I was going to run the tank, but again, things have changed. I've decided not to. I'm going to run it in the garage on the frag system that I set up. I've did a bit of research. I'm not going to sit here tonight as a professor, but in a way, we said this on a couple of weeks ago. You're adding it's electrical current, but you're adding an extra, from memory. You're turning O2 into O3, so you're adding an extra atom, which basically that extra atom doesn't know what to do with itself. So it basically latches onto anything that's floating around in the water column, detritus, etc., and it literally helps break it down. So it helps with your colour of your water, makes it crystal clear, helps you skimmer pull things out a lot easier. But at the same token, there is a side aspect to that it can be slightly hazardous to your health, which is why a lot of people run carbon on the top of your skimmers.
That's what I'd heard. Yeah,
it has to be.
It has to be attached to
it can give off a smell.
Can I hear that it smell? It gives off a smell as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got to look at. I suppose you've got to look at the pros and the cons. Like there's fors and there's against, isn't there? It's like, is it worth running it? Now on a big system, on a small system. I don't know. Would it
perfect
be
explanation?
Beneficial to work it?
Yeah.
Hey, perfect explanation. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What was it? Yeah.
So,
Well-
so I hear it helps for clarifying obviously the clarity of the water. So actually, by binding,
Yeah.
does it help?
But
take
it's also
out
a bit
nutrients
like
as well
it's
by the
also-
nature of it.
Yeah, but it's also a bit like a UV on steroids in a sense as well, in terms of sterilizing your water. So, like Scott's just said, he just took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, it is a lot stronger than a UV. But again, it depends on what system and method you're running with your system. Again, I'm trying to run the KZ method, so I'm trying to create a strain of bacteria that's going to absorb me ammonia and ammonium, but I'm not going to do that while I'm marine ozone and UVs. It's going to kill it. So it's something that, you know, I won't be running on this system. The UV was there. I've run it for a month now with the fish, and everybody's happy, so that'll get turned off. And if I ever need to turn it on again in the future, it's there to turn back on again. Touchwood, I don't have to.
So it's that kind of prevention if you need it, a bit like the UV.
Yeah. Plus the ozone as well. There's the from the equipment you buy, you need to make sure that the equipment, or the one I've bought, which is the sander set, is capable of the volume of water. It's all based on the amount of water you're running, as opposed to what it can generate, if that makes sense. So the kit that you buy has to represent how much volume of water you're basically cleaning, in a sense.
Otherwise, you get you can get overkill,
or it doesn't work.
It won't have no effect whatsoever because it's just not sized to.
You run the ozone. Don't you plug the ozone into like your skimmer?
Yes.
You plug it into your skimmer, don't you? But because I remember reading up saying that what do you call it? That certain skimmers can make it melt the plastic. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Doesn't it melt the plastic?
Yeah, I said that to you on a couple of weeks ago on the stream. Some skimmers are ozone friendly and some skimmers aren't, because the acrylic they're made out of.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I read that as well.
Cheap plastic pipes get brittle. The reason why, you know, I'm hoping in the 52 weeks of reefing, they'll explain a bit more about what it is and also how they're using it, because you look at it and say they're going to use it for an hour a day, and the way they've talked about it so far, it's as common and as easy to use as, say, a skimmer or lights and stuff like that, where I know it's not widely used, and you think, well, actually, you know, it sounds like you really need to understand and know your stuff before going in and looking at ozone, I think, from what you said, but I know zero about it, to be fair. I'm going to
I think that it's something that you don't want to go in blindfolded, that's for sure, is what I would say with that, from what I've learned about it. But I wouldn't worry either. I would definitely, depending on what you're trying to achieve with your tank. For me, I wanted to do it because I wanted the clarity. It was the crystal clear water, but it completely conflicts with what I'm trying to do with the KZ method, which is why I'm not running it on the system. So I'll use the equipment I've already got in the garage. But ironically, the equipment I've got isn't capable of running 1,450 litres of water either. So even though if I wanted to use it, it wouldn't be capable of it. No, I could have upgraded it, but it's just an expense I don't need to be spending. So let's use it on a smaller volume of water.
That's fair enough. Right. Okay. So the poll on that was 53% no, 46% yes. That's quite, again, another split decision on that one. I'd have to do a lot of research and probably go and see some people that are using it and get advice on it and really dig into that. I think is one of those.
From the people I know that run it, they run it like you said, Paul, literally in the middle of the night, and it's literally for 2-3 hours. And half the time it's set on a timer or through an apex to come on and off.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Because it increases your ORP in your water, and there's a certain range, again, without getting technical, there's a certain range that you don't want it to go past, otherwise it can be a danger.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Right, some other comments here on that. You can't run ozone and UV together. Don't need a lot of ozone, which is to your point, and BOS saying about using it only for about an hour for it to be effective. Small bubble mega skimmer or something. It's fair enough. Right. So in terms of building a tank, what else would you put on your perfect tank? Other than, obviously dosing.
You know what I've always wanted to try, to be fair, and I've spoken about it loads of times, and I was going to go on it, was a calcium
Plastic
reactor.
corals.
I was going to go. I always wanted to run a calcium reactor, and I've done loads of research on like how they run, the mechanics of them, everything about it, and I'm fairly clued up on them now, to be fair. And I never ended up buying one. I never ended up getting it because I thought the cost of them, when you put it all together, don't get me wrong, you would limit
best tank I've ever run was on a calcium reactor, Deltec calcium reactor years ago.
I know.
Best tank I've ever built.
To be fair, yeah, when this new tank's up and running, the ironic thing is maybe I could probably end up doing it. You know what I mean? Eventually, when it's fully stocked and everything with SPF, then maybe it could be something to go look down. You know what I mean? But that's a long way off. You know what I mean? But I would like to try calcium reactor, to be fair.
So I run a frag tank in the garage for about 2 years on a calcium reactor. I bought the calcium reactor for just over 100 quid with all the stuff and everything.
Wow.
And I didn't have to fill the media. It cost me zero in terms of additional costs.
Yeah.
The pH controller packed up in the end. So what I did, I used it as if it was dosing. So I set it to X amount, and that's how it ran. And then through my testing every week, I then just increased it or decreased it. So it wasn't scientific, like off a pH controller in the end, but it worked really well. And so it looks quite complex, doesn't it? Because you've got wires all over the place. You got your bottle of oxygen.
Where was the frag tank?
It was in the garage. So
you wouldn't have had an issue with the effluent lowering your pH. If Steve's going to run a calcium reactor in a small house full of kids, dogs, and everybody running around, I wouldn't recommend it. The best tank I had was on it. I genuinely raved about them for years, and I've got one set up for this system. But for me, it would be Calquasser as the main control in terms of sort of trace elements for that exact reason, for your alkalinity. Because all you're doing otherwise, you're having a fight because your calcium reactor is great, but it's going to put the effluent that's going in. It's acidic, so your pH is going to be low, and then you can have a calc stirrer to increase your pH. But your calc stirrer can also help your alkalinity anyway and your pH. So why have both? They sort of fight with each other sometimes.
Yeah.
In a garage, because you're not going to have an issue. You're going to have as much issue with CO2, carbon dioxide, people breathing, dogs, or whatever, kids running around. But in a closed environment, you are going to have an issue. And if you add into that issue with a calcium reactor, you're just going to it's going to frustrate you.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense, anyway.
I get you. Yeah, no, totally agree.
I mean, Calc is.
That's probably. Yeah, to be fair, that's probably one of the best things I ever did was adding the Calquasser onto my tank. To be fair, you know what I mean. It's something so cheap. It's so cheap to drink.
Exactly.
Easiest thing to mix up. You know what I mean. It takes all of literally 30 seconds to mix up, and you just stick it in, put it on a fairly decent, pump, or depending on what you want to do. Some people dose it through the night, don't they? And the pH begins to drop and stuff. Whereas I run mine over 24 hours, so it's each to their own, I suppose. But I found it perfect.
It works for you,
especially with pH, because I always struggle with, like I said, for pH, as you just mentioned there. So now, like I said, with my pH, it never drops below 8.2. It's always at 8.2. Do you know what I mean? So
nice.
And the high I've had it 8.45, 8.46, crazy numbers. You know what I mean? But But yeah,
I had great results with the
I had it at 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had great results with the calcium reactor and the Calquasser stir in the garage in the fish house for years. But I was very rarely in there, other than the fish were in there, and there was vents at the front and the back pulling fresh air through. So there wasn't an issue with it. But I just think again, it goes back to your circumstances, and you've just got to be aware of your surroundings to an extent in terms of what you're trying to do with the tank, and especially if it's going to be built in as well. I'm sure. I've not done pH yet. I've just finished temperature, and we've finished with salinity this week in terms of getting bending that curve and getting some stability. But next it's going to be pH. So Well, I'm curious to see what the difference is, you know, with the gas exchange, with everything being built in as opposed to it being open. You've got to bear these things in mind. I'll shut up now.
No, that's fair comment. I think it's fair comment. So what you're saying, calcium reactive unit, if it's kind of in its own room,
they're brilliant. I've had cracking results.
Mine was fine. I really enjoyed. I thought it was really, really good. And
if you're bothered about pH,
was so cost effective.
If you're bothered about pH, and you're going, then why create a problem by just running a calcium reactor when you can run a calc stirrer? Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. And you're taking your pH up. It's cheap, and you're dosing your alkalinity
and calcium.
Yeah, that's a fair comment. Right, I just got one more thing to do. That's about controller. So, if you could choose one controller from what you know, what would you put on there? So I'm thinking, like, is it GHL? Is it a combination of all your Red Sea? Combination of all your Reef Factory? Apex? What would it be?
Right. Oh, you know what my answer is going to be. I've only ever had one, and I always look at it, on how it performs and how it's thing, and it's been on my system for 5 years. This Apex, and it's never missed a beat. You know what I mean? So for me, it was well worth the money, and I would. And there's so much you could do. I mean, there's like people out there who I know of, who do everything on their Apex. They control everything with their Apex. I mean, it's all like this programming and all that. It's just like, I know a bit about it on certain ones, but like certain like codes, what you got to input is like got way above my mind. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's so much things you can do with it. You know what I mean? So for me, I've got to be Apex. And like you said, really, you can expand it so you can add things onto it.
To be fair,
just
took the words out of my mouth with the Apex. To be fair, it's expandable.
For me, it's the Apex as well. I've used one for 8 years. I haven't even scratched the surface in what you can do to it. Mine's been plug and play. It's all the kit that you put on it rather than the breakout units and all the circuits that you can set up to do all kinds of things. Yeah, I've got a leak detector as well on that, but you can program it to do loads of stuff.
Water changes. You can do auto water changes on it if you want it by the dose.
That'd be good for you, Steve. That and your new tank water changes.
Mate, I know. You know what? I'll tell you what. Well, yeah, we could drill a few holes through the wall and run the cables all around the top of the roof and all that. We'll be laughing, won't we?
The only thing I will say, and this is shows my intellect, I suppose, is I don't think they're the easiest to get on with for somebody getting new into the hobby. They're a bit technical
because of the codes. Yeah, they are.
But you don't do that anymore. From what I've seen, they're plug and. But when I first got it, I had the classic, which was about coding, and that was so difficult to set up, and the Wi-Fi was rubbish on it, and you had to put an Ethernet cable to do it to your computer. When they brought out Fusion, that was miles easier. And from the 1 or 2 bits I've put on it new has worked really well. You just said what bit you've added, and it's just found it, and it's been fine.
Well, they put like the fingers, haven't they? Like on how you do things. So, like you said, if you put in like a leak detection kit on, it tells you how to do it. If you're calibrating something or you're doing something, it runs you through it, doesn't it? It's so easy, like what it was when I first started out, like 5 years ago on it. There was none of that. It was just like you do this, scan this, and then it was like here. I mean, I watched a lot of bloody YouTube videos on how to set it up. You know what I mean? But like now it's so easy for the person, and it's cheap, really, like you said, because you could get the Apex Junior or the Apex EL, whichever one it's called now, for what, 400 quid, 350, 400 quid or something, and then you can add on to it. So it's like you might not need the leak detection kit, but you can add on to it. You can buy like I've got the WXM module now. Now it's linked to my lights, so now I can control my lights via it. I can control my wave makers via it, you know what I mean? So it's just like one ecosystem, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only thing that it doesn't do it is the dosing pumps, which I'm sure they will do over in a software at some point. But the dosing pumps are not on the WXM module for some strange reason.
What really the DOS doser?
No, not the DOS, the Ecotech. Because the WXM
Oh,
module
sorry,
is linked to all
right.
together. Yeah.
For
So,
the
but
right for the
all you can
Ecotech ones,
control
I'm
on
with
it
you.
is the
Yeah.
lights and the AI lights, the Radion lights, the pumps,
Vortex.
the vortex pumps.
But
But you
didn't
can't. But the Versas are not on it. So the Versas
Oh,
are not on it
really?
for some
But I'm
strange
sure
reason.
there
I
was.
don't know
I'm
why.
sure there's. I'm sure I heard a story that they fell out with each other, and that's why.
That was a
That's
while
probably
back,
why
wasn't
then,
it?
yeah.
But
That was
then
a
they're
while
owned by but Neptune and Ecotech are owned by the same venture capitalists,
same
aren't they
brand.
now?
Daniel.
Yeah.
That's why they've
think they
bought
are.
out the WXM so that you
Yeah.
can do it. Because when they started bringing out, I think it was at some point on the Vetra and those, they just said no, you can't use it. That was quite a while ago because they did fall out. You're right, but then now they're owned by the same people. I think that's when they brought out that new unit recently, haven't they? So you can
WXM, yeah.
integrate it
good.
back in.
It is good,
Yeah,
to be fair.
absolutely.
But like
Right,
you said, it
we've
will be
got a
better when it's
few-
all done.
Yeah, just a few more comments there. GHO rock solid, but Apex is expendable. Scott generally run everything Apex had to offer, also like the GHL profile. Never have a controller again, constant stress chasing numbers. All Apex all day long. A new one coming from America called Hydros.
Yeah, that
I've heard of
Hydros
it, but not much detail.
it does look good. Yeah,
Yeah?
it does look good, to be fair. That, yeah.
Apex does a 1.25
Nice.
water change a day. Yeah, I like the idea. I'm gonna set that up in one of the tanks in the garage once I close the other one down, because I've then got the DOS doses free, and I will do that. But that'll save some time. Mickey Boy Salafat test kits for me. That's a completely different whole episode, isn't it? What test kits would you use? And we've discussed those a few times before.
Imagine if Salifat fetched out a controller system though.
Oh yeah.
Do they do anything other than just the test kits? I don't know their background.
I'll tell you.
Do they do a wide? I don't know if they do a wide range of different other stuff or not. I don't know.
They've been around for so long.
To be
You
fair,
would have thought that they would have done something, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know, something.
Hannah do one, don't they? Hannah do a little mini version of a. I won't say it's not an Apex, but they do the little controller. Does it not do your temperature, your salinity, and your pH? Little screens, about 400 quid, 500 quid.
I vaguely remember them bringing. There was a whole glut of those kind of things came onto the market.
And the only downside is it's not. The only downside to it is it's not Wi-Fi connected, so it doesn't send you any push notifications, so you don't know if you've got an issue with your tank. But it's
Salafat do some dosing stuff.
I didn't know that.
I've got to say, if on a budget for a kind of a tank controller, the one I've talked about before, which is the Red Sea 3-in-1, where you get alerts on your temperature, and you got a leak detector. Yeah, that to me, it's actually made such a big difference with the redundancy on that, and that's without the fact of the ATO is pretty good. I mean, obviously, I can't say it's reliable because I haven't had it for long. Once I've had it like 3-4 years, then I think you can say whether something's reliable on that. But that one's pretty good.
On that,
sorry.
What's the price on it?
It's 180 quid.
That's good.
And then it's 200 quid if you want the magnetic bracket. And all I did was just wedge it in the back of the sump area on this. So I thought that when you think about an auto top up, depending on what one you go to, the cheapest one is probably not going to get one that's under 100 quid. I think might be able to just about for an auto top up. Most of them are in the kind of, if you think about the Tunzi, what's that, 200, 180 quid? And I still think that's excellent. Yeah. But at least this one, you can see what's going on. So that's what I like about this one. You've got the two other functions that come with it. And it's about the same price point as a Tunzi one.
Right.
So I definitely recommend that. And the apps, I think the Red Sea app's really good as well. And of course, then if you're adding things onto it, you can then control the pumps and everything from it. So it's becoming almost like
it's an ecosystem.
It's a controller in the absolutely.
Right, okay.
Control.
So it's pretty good. And then another good mate, Kamoa. I've had the Kamoa pumps, and of course they do a lot of stuff. Kamoa, don't they? Not just the pumps for the tanks. They do a lot of medical stuff as well, don't they? Yeah, I've actually still got a stepper pump just in case I need to use it again because they're brilliant.
Rock solid, rock solid.
Yeah, absolutely. They're really good. And then Chris saying loves his Red Sea ATO. Oh, blimey, we're at time. So we've got 1 more minute to go. So I think that closes pretty much off what we've done. I think I've done all the comments, everyone. So thank you for that. Right, what have we got? Anything else we need to discuss before we go? Oh, there you go. And Chris said, and he actually does send you alerts when your RO is running low because the tank's in the garage. I quite often I forget, and you only know because of the bubbles that are going. Whereas you get an alert on that when it's low, which is pretty good. And I've dialed it in now. I had a few problems to begin with on that. But we are out of time. So thank you, gents, for joining us tonight. Thank you for everyone who's been in the comments, for everyone who's watched. And Steve, we are with you next weekend, aren't we? Or next Friday?
Yes, we are, my friend. We are.
So
I'm sure we'll figure out something else to chat about next weekend. We'll try and figure something out what we can
I'm sure we'll have lots to gas about.
We're liking these polls, aren't we? Yeah, I'm sure. We'll sort something out.
Absolutely. Right.
Stuff.
Thanks all. See you
happy weekend, everybody. Have a good one.
See you soon.
Till next week.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.